All right, we get Jeff Green on the floor. Let's go. See what Jeff Green's getting down with in the year 2025. We're going under big time on Jimmy Butler there. Buddy Hield step back, getting ready for the 3-point contest. Nope. Yeah. I think Apollo dropped his ball underneath the chair because he is scratching and crying. So I'm gonna go assist my dog real quick. Give me 1 second, guys. Yes, we're back. Apollo did in fact drop a toy. Thankfully, there's no squeaker inside of it, so he will not be. We won't have any disruption to the stream. But he's happy now. He has recovered his toy. Oh, the few moments of this game that I've actually paid attention to, I feel like I've just seen guys getting thrown around. This has been a very physical game so far. Put back dunk from Thompson. Yeah, it's the only way the Rockets play, but even the Warriors are getting pretty physical. Let me double check and make sure the YouTube stream is finally started. Yep, looks like it's live. All right, everyone on YouTube, hello, welcome in. Yeah, we are, John. We are having watch parties for other teams. Usually I don't stream the others. Like if we do a non-Cavs game, I usually don't stream it to YouTube. I usually reserve that for the Cavs games, but I figured why not? We always do. We stream throughout the week on Playback, whether it's a Cavs game or a Warriors game or whatever. We do all of it. So if you aren't following on Playback, you should do that because then you'll never miss a stream. Yeah, you missed the wall, Dan, but it's all right. I'm sure there will be another opportunity. I think Apollo literally, I think he dropped his toy back under the futon there. So I had to get up to help him recover the toy, and I think he's already dropped it under there again. So you'll get a chance to see the wall soon enough. So he's going to start crying and whining in a moment. Wasn't Pods a hold up in some other trade for a way better player? Was it it wasn't Luca. No, who was it? Why am I blanking on this? Yeah, I know that they basically didn't want to include Pods in a trade. Which is interesting because I think he's fine. He's a fine player, but they consider him untouchable. It's basically that's all you need to know. I forget the specific player who they passed up on, but they've considered him pretty much untouchable. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. I think he's a fine player. That's a good pull up jump shot, but I wouldn't consider him untouchable. All right, give me one moment here. There you go, Dan. Told you it would happen. Oh, and my MacBook's dying. We're all over the place right now. Grab my charger. All right, I came prepared though. The charger's right next to me. All right, already coming down to the end of the first quarter here. Jeff Green with a warm-up shot. The Warriors have been playing good ball since Jimmy Butler got there. They lost in a thriller last night to the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know if anyone watched that, but Kyrie Irving, man, to this day, when he gets in his zone, when he hits that rhythm, it's one of the most special players ever. Like legitimately, one of the most special offensive talents this game has ever seen when he's in that zone. There's very few players who get into a zone like that. Dr. Manhattan, you haven't missed much so far. This has been a very physical, relatively ugly game, but we've just been chatting. We're talking about the Warriors last night against Dallas. If you saw that game, Kyrie was in a special zone. I am also glad that he got selected for the All-Star game. I thought that he was snubbed originally, so I'm glad that he ended up making it in. He's had such a great year. I mean, he's been so efficient. Let me pull up his stats real quick because he's been so efficient. He was he was carrying them for a while with Luka Doncic out, and now he's going to be carrying them for the foreseeable future. But let me read off these stats real quick. It's nice that Kyrie, for all the ups and downs and the roller coaster career that he has had, he's actually seemed to find some stability in Dallas and is back to just playing good basketball. No controversies, just hooping. This season, he's averaging, I'm going to be rounding up, he's averaging 25 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and he's shooting 48% from the field, 41% from the 3-point line, and 90% from the I said 41% from the 3-point line and 90% from the free throw line. Um, Dude's been hooping. He's just been balling. He's been in his bag all year. He had 40 something in that most recent game. Let's see, it was 42 points against the Warriors. He had a string of like 3 3-pointers in a matter of 40 seconds. Just unconscious. And, one of my favorite players ever. When those early days in Cleveland, even before LeBron got here, just some of the takeovers that he would have, just like I said, very few players ever in the NBA could take over games offensively the way Kyrie Irving did. Especially if you just talk about guards. Like, it's one thing when a wing or a center takes over a game offensively. Kyrie would just become legitimately unstoppable, and he's this 6'3" guard who isn't that strong, but he goes into the paint and he takes a hit and he finishes through so much contact, and he's the best ball handler of all time, hitting those 3-pointers when he gets hot at the Steph Curry type of rate. I mean, he's just such a fun basketball player. One of the best difficult shot makers ever. Yeah, exactly. He makes it look so easy, but man, even just like the below the rim finishing, right? Like, he's, I would say, the best ball handler of all time, and he's probably the best below the game or below the rim finisher of all time. There's just so much talent on display when he's in a rhythm like that. Yeah, the 55 points, I think, against Portland. It was 55 or maybe even 57. No, 57 was against the Spurs, right? I think he had 57 against the Spurs, 55 against Portland, the 8 for 8 3-point game against Portland. I mean, that's why it was such a shame that he had such an up and down career and for the middle portions, because, I mean, I can't say it enough. Special, special offensive player. Oh, look, here's Reed Shepard right on cue. I was just mentioning him. No Fred Van Fleet. Oh, yeah, this spin on Dame. Oh, man, the footwork. It's just the talent level, man. Such a talented, skilled basketball player. His balance, underrated for sure. Yeah, Sengun is a tough player to watch. I really get frustrated watching him, especially against the Cavs, but even just in general, the way he pushes everybody, it's very frustrating. And it's a case of, like, if you do it every single play, they're not going to call it as much as they should. And low key, not I'm not comparing these players one to one, but Jalen Tyson is kind of, you know he's entering that conversation too, because he pushes a lot of people going for offensive rebounds. And he got called for one yesterday, and I forgot to bring it up, but I like that Jalen Tyson just pushes guys, because, again, when you do it every single time, you end up getting away with a lot. So if Jalen Tyson ends up being one of those guys, as annoying as it is to watch on other teams, I would kind of like it if Jalen Tyson became that for us. Just foul the hell out of everyone, because you'll get the reputation of being a scrappy defender, and then they kind of let you go with some stuff, right? Like Okoro gets a bad whistle. Okoro gets whistled for like everything, and I almost think if Okoro just started hammering guys left and right, he might get away with a little bit more. But again, it's a reputation thing, right? Like Draymond Green gets to hit people as often as he wants. Dylan Brooks, Marcus Smart, they can be as physical as they want. But when you're someone like Okoro and you're trying to play ethical basketball, the NBA, they punish you, man. So In all seriousness, though, I'm joking a little bit, but in all seriousness, Jalen Tyson showing some shades of being that scrappy type of player who just watch him when he's going for rebounds. He pushes everybody, and I kind of like it. Yeah, Kyrie and Luca. I don't even know what to tell you, man. I still can't believe. Geez, Apollo is on one today. I don't know if you guys can hear him. He's going to town. But Kyrie and Luca were such a fantastic duo. It's very sad that Dallas decided to break that up. In all honesty, so I mentioned earlier, if anyone in the chat wants to throw some names out there, which team or which player has disappointed you the most this season? Dallas to me is kind of up there because I think they probably had the best chance of anyone in the Western Conference to beat OKC. Like I think either Dallas or Denver probably had the best chance of beating OKC. Dallas will still be competitive if Anthony Davis is healthy, but I really feel like they just slammed the door shut on themselves for no reason. So I would say they're one of the more disappointing teams to me now, because I just think again Anthony Davis amazing, but I think they got worse, and it's just kind of disappointing. It's like a self-inflicted wound for no reason. Obviously, the 76ers are a huge disappointment for a lot of people. I personally don't care because I don't like the 76ers, but the fact that they're 13 games below 500 at this point, what an embarrassment of a season. And on the other hand, if we're being positive, Houston, one of the teams that we're watching right now, probably one of the most exciting surprise teams for a lot of people. I know Sengun is a little bit of a rough watch, but they're definitely one of the biggest surprises of the year. And Thompson has been a lot of fun to watch. I'm a fan, honestly. Non-health related division, maybe Sacramento. Yeah. I mean, it feels like 2 years in a row for Sacramento. They had their breakout, I think, 3 years ago. Boston lost in 7 games to Golden State, and then seemingly have taken steps back each year to the point where now they've blown it up, and they're just the Chicago Bulls of the Western Conference. Sorry to BG if he happens to be here, but it's true. Yeah, the Sacramento Kings are disappointing. I just had another team. Now I blanked. I mean, the Suns. The Suns are disappointing. They're awful. They're just horrible. I'm sure a lot of people are disappointed in the Miami Heat. Oh no one said Wolves yet, Demo. That's a great option. Yeah, healthy Orlando. It's so funny. They were like Orlando stayed top 3 or top 4 in the East throughout all those injuries, and then they got healthy, and now they've plummeted. But the Timberwolves, again, speaking of self-inflicted wounds, I mean, you trade Karl Anthony Towns, and I understand why they wanted to try and. I know that there was a feeling of you might need to trade Karl Anthony Towns for a while there, but you just went to the Western Conference Finals. You trade him for a player who is a clear downgrade now with hindsight. Just completely disrupted the vibes of that team. And in all honesty, like if Anthony Edwards ends up leaving in the future, I feel like it all could be traced back to this decision to trade Karl Anthony Towns and really just tank your team for no reason. So they've been very disappointing. People were talking about Minnesota as a team that could be in contention for the foreseeable future after they made the conference finals. And then they shook things up. Yeah, when the Kings got DeRozan this summer, it wasn't a perfect fit by any means, but it seemed like a fun fit, and it didn't take them any further. I would have thought that they would have been back to being like a legit playoff team, like at best, but it didn't play out that way for them. Is there anything Cavs related that could even be somewhat classified as a disappointment? Because I kind of don't think so. It's been a perfect season, right? Is there anything anything disappointing? Maybe Sam Merrill taking a while to get going, but even he's cooking now. I guess you could say Craig Porter has been a little disappointing. Maybe Luke Travers, JT Thor, I don't know, but you really have to reach to the bottom of the barrel to find something disappointing with the Cavs. I mean, Kenny Atkinson knocking it out the park in his first year. Health stuff. Ooh, it's a Coro. Yeah, it's a Coro, old kid. Yeah, because Coro was actually really playing well at the start of the year, and then the injuries just completely. That was really close, by the way, on that putt. The injuries just derailed the Coro season so far. Hopefully, he'll have enough time to ramp back up post All Star break, but I don't even know when he's supposed to be back. Let's see right here. That looks like it could be good. Oh no, no, way off. Mm. Yeah, Donovan against his struggles against the Thunder are a little tough to overlook because I do think Lou Dort is going to have a lot of success against him in any matchup. But it does make me feel good that Darius Garland played good in both of those games. And, it's kind of funny. It's like Darius usually somewhat struggles against Boston, and Donovan has no issue against Boston. And then on the flip side, Darius has no trouble against OKC, but Donovan struggles against OKC. So maybe the yin and yang will balance out there. Yeah, the Thunder put Donovan Mitchell in hell, and there's no like a lot of like when Darius Garland struggles against Boston, most of it I say it seems like he's just, like that first game when he went what? He went like 1 for 18 or something, or he started off 1 of something. It was really bad. I think he finished 3 of 19, right? Maybe that was it. A lot of those were just Darius Garland missing shots that I think he's capable of making. The Thunder legitimately just put Donovan Mitchell in the torture chamber. He was not getting any clean looks. Everything he attempted was really difficult. Maybe some of the attempts in the paint he probably could have finished, but that's not going to be an easy matchup for him if we meet in the finals. But again, Darius Garland looked good, and the two bigs looked really good the first game. So there is a blueprint there to beat them. And we have DeAndre Hunter now, who changes that matchup in many ways too. And also, when is Wolf supposed to be back? I'm guessing not too long after the All-Star break, I would guess. I don't know for sure, but it seems like he's been trending towards a return. And you're about to have they don't play again until next week, until February 20th, I believe, right? So plenty of time for Dean to hopefully make his return, get fully healthy. Yeah, I agree, Aura. I think Kenny. I'm trying not to be biased. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anybody else, but Kenny's probably running away with Coach of the Year now. Well, you said JB close behind. I think JB is definitely in the race, but I don't know. I feel like Kenny should be running away with it, especially if JB is the runner up, because it's funny. You usually don't have two guys in the race who are so tightly connected in a way, but it's like this is the team that JB couldn't get the most out of. And now Kenny comes in and they're on a 65 win pace. So I feel like Kenny should be running away with it, but JB deserves a lot of credit too. And as much as Kenny Atkinson deserves a boatload of credit for what's happening in Cleveland, I also think the players themselves have also improved. So it's not as simple as saying we replaced JB with Kenny and everything was unlocked. I think the Cavs themselves did put in a lot of work this summer. Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, especially Ty Jerome. Like the players deserve a lot of credit too. So I think JB's gonna probably finish as a like whatever the word is. I'm blanking. They usually have the 3 nominees, right? A nominee who probably get a nomination, a finalist. That's what I'm thinking of. I think the finalists probably would be Kenny Atkinson, JB, and then maybe Jamal Mosley was the other guy that I was thinking of. But because they have kind of slid so far, I'd probably be Mike Dagnall from Oklahoma City. I think those would be my 3 finalists: him, JB, and Kenny. Yeah, Udoka could be in there too. I think that third spot is where it gets a little tough. I would probably say Kenny and JB deserve to be there. It depends on where Detroit finishes. Right now, they are firmly in the play-in picture, right? They might even finish as the top 6 team. Let me check real quick. I mean, depending on how high they climb, it would solidify that. If they fall, then you start talking about other people being nominated there. Trying to pull up the NBA standings. My phone is being very slow. Yeah, so Detroit right now is 6th in the Eastern Conference, and they're only 2 games back from 4th. So if they finish 4th, JB's got to be a finalist, in my opinion. It would be funny JB finishing as the 4th seed for the 3rd year in a row. And a 4-5 matchup, if it ends up being Indiana versus Detroit, 4-5 matchup, and the Cavs get to play either Indiana or Detroit in the second round, talk about luck of the draw. I mean, we could get a really good path to the conference finals here. Not to downplay any opponent or pretend that it's an automatic victory, but like let's say you draw the Chicago Bulls in round 1 and then the Pistons in round 2. That would be sweet. Oh man, did we miss a big dunk? Let me switch over. Yeah, I've done a bad job of switching the stream today. We've just been watching these uh in arena entertainment segments. The Bulls are amazing at that. That's certainly a thing that people have said about them before at one time or the other. But yeah, no, I don't even think the Bulls will make the playoffs, but it would be hilarious if they won the play-in tournament this year of all years to do it. All right, let's switch over to this game. Okay, so Anthony Edwards is playing, by the way. He was questionable all day, and I kind of just assumed that he wouldn't end up playing because, again, last day for the All-Star break. But maybe Adam Silver called his phone because this is the TNT game, so they want the Stars playing. There we go. We got to see it. Dunks all over chat. Yeah. Probably, letting them know. Hey, wait a second. You can't say that. Can't say that on TNT. That's our thing. But yeah, Anthony Edwards, maybe the best in-game dunker in the NBA this year, or just in the NBA right now, right? Him or Ja Morant, probably. The Miami Heat absolutely sold. That was sickening. 21-point lead, just completely blew it. Denver, by the way, has won 8 straight games, and Jamal Murray just had what 45. Wait, how many did Jamal Murray have yesterday? Did he have 55? Jeez. I thought it was 55, but then as I was getting ready to say it, I was like, that doesn't sound real. It must have been 45. But no, it was 55. Doesn't even sound, it sounds too good to be true. Because Jamal Murray had been really a shell of himself for the last 2 years. Now he's starting to turn it on. And that would be very scary for really the entire NBA if Jamal Murray starts looking like Jamal Murray. Because that's really been the main thing. I know Denver's depth has taken quite a few hits since they won the championship, but the main reason why they have slipped a little bit is because Jamal Murray just hasn't been himself. It's only one game, but again, like I said, they're on this win streak. Jokic is still looking like, the same player he's been the last few years. Jamal Murray starting to look like his former self. Their depth isn't as good, but they might have enough. I think they could definitely give OKC a very tough series if Jamal Murray's looking good. So just keeping an eye on it. Keeping an eye on it. The Cavs actually match up pretty well with Denver. Probably the best team. Like I'd assume. I'm trying to think of any other front court that's better equipped for Jokic, and it's got to be the Cavs, right? What's this? Oh yeah, the ant on chat, nasty dunk. Got to be the best in-game dunker in the NBA. Either him or Ja Morant. I saw that old kid. Yeah, they said I'm not tweeting until Jamal Murray scores 40 again. Then he finally came back 2 years later. Finally did it. But yeah, Denver's been balling recently. Golden State is turning it around a little bit with the Jimmy Butler trade. They've definitely revitalized their season. I don't think they're a contender by any means, but they could give someone a tough first round series, depending on who they match up against. This right here actually would be a fun first round series. Golden State versus Houston. Dan, I think I agree with you there. Ant is better for the posters, but Ja's better for just like pure Showtime dunks. Although Ja Morant's posters are pretty lethal too. So maybe I'll give Ja the edge there. Just with that in mind, like Ja kind of brings the flair in the open court, and he has some crazy poster dunks too. Oh, I didn't hear that, Ara. So Brandon Ingram's presser for the Raptors, he had the Raptors as one of the teams he would want to go to. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean they have a bunch of wings. I don't really know. Their problem is I just don't. They don't have enough talent to really be more than a play-in team at best, at least in my opinion. And they're spending a lot of. That's an expensive play-in team, right? Like I mean, they're running down the same path as Chicago and Sacramento, in all honesty. Tristan did let him know. That's damn right. Tristan, yeah, can I be honest? It was a little goofy for Tristan to do that. He definitely shouldn't have done that, but also I think it's even goofier when the other side gets upset. Like I feel like Toronto was goofier for being upset about it, but also Tristan Thompson. You're supposed to be the vet, man. You can't do that. You know you can't do that. You would be Tristan Thompson would be pissed if someone did that to the Cavs. So it's kind of funny that he did it to another team. But at the end of the day, honestly, who cares? It's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. I know it's an unwritten rule, but yeah, Raptor fans were so hurt. They're posting like Tristan Thompson's true shooting percentage is 40% this year. I'm like, yeah, we know he sucks. No Cavs fan is like, no, Tristan Thompson's really good, guys. No, he sucks this year. I mean, he's like fine for a last resort option, but like no one is legitimately arguing that Tristan Thompson is like a great player anymore. But Raptors fans are like, oh, he's so bad. He's so bad. Tristan Thompson sucks. Why is he even doing this? It's like, yeah, we know. Someone was like, oh, he's only played this many minutes this year and they're all garbage time. We're like, yeah, he's a garbage time player now. But he got to dunk on your team because you were down 30. Yeah, it's a dumb unwritten rule. It means nothing. And as Tristan said in his tweet, like they were full court pressing. So he's like, I'm just gonna take a dunk. They should probably investigate him for a FanDuel potential scandal there though, because maybe he bet the over. I don't know. There could be something brewing under there. Could be an ulterior motive. Did it actually demo? That would be hilarious. I didn't check, but that would legitimately open up an investigation, I would think. Yeah, Canadian legend, dude. That could very well. I was listening to the No Dunks pod today, and they mentioned it. Like that could be the last time Tristan Thompson ever dunks in Toronto. That could be the last time you see him dunk on a Toronto basketball court. So why are we booing him? You guys should be changing the logo to Tristan Thompson. Honestly, he's done more for Canada than Vince Carter ever did. Yeah, the crowd switch up. Ooh, and one from Curry. Damn, that's wild that really changed that covered the over. They should look into that. I mean, Tristan Thompson is certainly, he's a pretty trustworthy guy, so I don't think he would ever dabble in something like that, but just to cover their bases, they should check. See if maybe there's some funny business going on. Yeah. Tristan Thompson would never do something like that, guys. Come on. He's a very trustworthy guy. Come on. All right, Golden State storming to a 17-point lead here. That's the last thing the Cavs need is Tristan Thompson gambling scandal. All right, let's flip back to OKC. Well, now that I know Edwards is playing, maybe this will end up being a good game. Yeah, no, it really is though. If any current NBA player was to get into a legit gambling scandal, Tristan Thompson is actually probably up there on the list. So I would not be surprised if they looked into it. Although I'd have to imagine he wouldn't. If Tristan were to do a gambling scandal, I feel like he wouldn't bet on the over unders for the entire game. I think it would be more like his own. I don't know. Can you even bet on Tristan Thompson props? You probably can't even bet on Tristan himself. So I don't know. I just feel like the over under is something that he really has no control over. Unless, except for last night, because clearly he could control it last night. But typically, he doesn't have much control over it. I'm pretty sure Terry Rozier was cleared, right? I think he was cleared. And if I remember correctly, it was someone tweeted like, "I have good information that Terry Rozier's not going to play or not going to return or something. So make sure you bet his under." It was something stupid. It was something like, "Why on earth would you tweet this? Of course you're going to get investigated." So I don't know what the actual result was, but it was like some random Twitter person, like a Twitter user who's like known for giving like betting advice. Basically, was like, "Yeah, bet Terry Rozier's under. He's going to play like 2 minutes and then sit the rest of the game or something." So I don't know how he found that information, but I think Terry Rozier himself was cleared. Don't quote me though, because I could be wrong on that, but that's what I remember seeing most recently. Edwards step back three. Nope. Yes, the Thunder had a 21-point comeback against Miami last night. Maybe this is a trap game. Minnesota can open up a big lead. Maybe the Thunder just decide to roll into the All-Star break healthy. Yeah, Michael Porter's brother. I don't understand. I don't understand why any NBA player would do it, to be completely honest with you. Like, you're getting paid a ridiculous amount of money to play basketball. Do you really need to also scam your way into more money and through betting? Like, it's just stupid. The dumbest thing you could possibly do. Yeah, that was a nice play, by the way. Let's see what else is going on here. Sacramento, New Orleans. All right, 3-point game. No Zion. Probably not that surprising, but no Zion. Whoa. All right, alley oop. Man, we talk about the Kings being a disappointment and how they're kind of stuck in purgatory, but it really just speaks how talented today's NBA is. When you look at, like, there's so many solid basketball players on the Kings, and they're, desperate to be a play-in team. Today's NBA is just loaded with talent, man. Even the Pelicans. I know they've been injured this year. That's their main issue, but they have so many great wings, and they're like 12-42 this year. Injuries are the main reason, but Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Zion. It's like, damn, dude. There's just so many. Every NBA team has so many good guys now. Even even the Wizards, yeah. Even the Wizards, though. You got Jordan Poole, who he had 42 yesterday. He had 30. I think he had 40 against the Cavs. Like, he can get buckets. Bilal Coulibaly's promising. I know I'm blanking on someone there. Sar, like, even they have some guys. Now they're not very good, but they have some guys. Yeah, Herb Jones out for the season. That's unfortunate. This has been a nightmare year for New Orleans. They'd be up there in terms of disappointments for me, just because they literally were never healthy all year. Yeah, let's put some respect on Jordan Poole's name. He did get more fan votes than DG. Did he end up finishing with more fan votes, or I think DG ended up making a push? I know the first ballots had Jordan Poole ahead of him, but I think okay, yeah, DG, because I'm pretty sure the game against OKC happened on national TV and DG balled out, and then like a huge wave of votes came in after that. So DG ended up with more fan votes than it initially seemed like he would. This fan is just, I guess they're not doing a bad job, but nowhere near as gifted as the girl from the Cavs game. Looks like he ended up getting a lot though. It's gonna take a while to count that. All right, let's switch over here. Let's see what other games are on now too. Miami Heat versus the Dallas Mavericks, and Clippers at Jazz is going to start soon. Yeah, the money thing is a little dystopian. I'm not going to lie. All right, the Rockets are creeping back into it, down 12 now. They were just down 17. Yeah, it's nice that the Cavs are getting flexed onto national TV more often. It's about time. All right. Ooh, bad turnover there. Starting to get momentum to close the half, and Butler probably should have just taken that layup. Yeah. Oh, and then you get a wide open layup from Curry. Tough break for Houston there. Had a chance to cut it to 10. Instead, they're down 14. All right, Reed Shepard's out here. Like I said earlier, he's having a real rough rookie season so far. Jeff Green, come on now. He's been doing it for how long? Yeah, Jackson was right. He probably does need to just go fully bald, but I respect that he's hanging on to it. I respect that he's hanging on to a little bit of hair. But yeah, Jeff Green's still doing it, man. Comes up off the bench. Oh, I don't like that call. Comes off the bench, nails a three. Rockets down 11. Let's see if they can get a stop here. Does anyone know the rosters for the Rising Stars game, the G League portion of it? I'm gonna look it up right now. Is Bronny in it? That's my main question. Does anyone know? I'll look it up if no one answers. Okay, I'm pulling it up now. Favorite Cavs wrinkle for DG this year is the size up jibber jabber step backs that turn into give and goes. Yes, yes, man. I know I've mentioned it a lot during the Cavs games, but in years past, when he would give up the ball in those situations, he would just kind of stay stationary or hover back up to half court to be like a safety valve or an outlet if the play needed to be reset. But this year, he'll kind of step back, give the ball up to Allen, and then immediately cut to the rim. And that's just a little wrinkle or a move that he did not do in the past. Like I said, he would give the ball up and just kind of stand around, maybe even back up to the half court line to be a safety valve. Now he gives it up, cuts right away, and they've had a lot of easy scoring opportunities off of that. And even if it doesn't lead directly to, like, even if DG's covered and Allen can't get the ball back to him, you just get some movement. There's someone chasing Darius Garland now, and there's some motion and a flow to the offense. It's not as stagnant as it was last year. Jeff Green unfortunately couldn't hit another three, but all right, we go into halftime with a 14-point deficit for the Rockets. We'll be keeping an eye on that. Yeah, guys catch the ball on the move so much more, and they catch the ball with their defender, on the move and chasing them, or the backside is paying attention because someone's cutting through the lane or there's a back screen being set. Like so much of the issues last year with the offense is that you have like a pick and roll going on up top, and everyone else is just kind of standing around watching. But now everyone's moving. The help defenders are preoccupied with they got to stay somewhat close to their man, but they have to also tag the guy cutting to the basket. There's just way more going on, and it's created a lot more openings. Let's see if this game's at halftime yet. Might be. Feels like we keep live dribbles a little better. I noticed that a lot watching other games, how often the ball kind of stops. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Cavs move the ball so well. Everyone, it's more efficient this year. Not just like the 3-point shooting or anything like that, but the player movement, the ball movement. I feel like the Cavs don't waste time anymore in their possessions. They used to dribble the clock down all the way, to like 10 seconds before getting into a move. Now, if DG or Mitchell or whoever else on the team doesn't have a look, they pass the ball up and we keep it moving. And a lot of that, yeah, BG, a lot of that has to be Kenny. I mentioned earlier that like the players deserve a lot of credit for improving, but Kenny, from the very first day he got to Cleveland, he talked a lot about the key to this team is you need to unlock DG and Mitchell. You need to make that pairing work. He talked so much about upping the tempo, the pace that they play with, the ball movement, the spacing, getting, he kept calling it the Autobahn. He put the cones out like it was a middle school basketball team, and everyone has to run all the way into the corners, get all the way to the corners in transition, and all these little things of, shooting faster in the shot clock rather than winding it down so much. That's a big, big influence from Kenny. And it's honestly, it's Warriors-esque, right? It's a lot of the principles that I'm talking about are stuff that Kenny, definitely learned during his time in Golden State. Yeah, I wonder because they were hyping Jerome up last year in the training camp too, like big time. So Seems like he's been this type of player for at least a year now, but that injury stopped him. So I wonder the power of friendship last year could have been absolutely insane with Ty Jerome out there too. No, Jerome wasn't here for the New York series. We got him. We got Jerome the same year that we got Niang and Struess that summer. I think we signed him. I don't remember what point of the year we signed him, but I know we got Max Struess like literally as soon as free agency started, and I think we got Jerome shortly after. I don't think he was on. I don't think he won the championship with Golden State. Kenny was. I think Jerome was in OKC, and then he joined. Yeah, he joined the Warriors for the 23 season, 22-23. Ty Jerome, if you remember, he balled out against Cleveland that one game in 2023 when all the Warriors starters rested, and Ty Jerome just buried us with floaters. That was when Kobe Altman knew from that moment on, he's got to go get this guy. Don't remind us, Tony. Listen, I think I've told the story before. Worst Cavs game I've ever been to. Worst Cavs game ever. My mom got me tickets for that game for Christmas. I've never seen Steph Curry play in person before. And I know Cavs fans, we hate Steph Curry, all that, but listen, he's the greatest three-point shooter of all time. I'm down to see Steph Curry play in person. I wanted to see it. So, we got those tickets in Christmas. I think the game was in February or something. So we had, a month or two of anticipation. And then it finally happens and no one's playing. And I said, all right, well, at least the Cavs will probably win this game by a bunch, right? Like, I don't get to see Steph or Clay or Draymond, but maybe the Cavs will win by a bunch. And just we got jumped on right away and never felt like we were going to come back in that game at all. It was awful. I have the poster for it somewhere too. I'll see if I can find that in a second, because they gave out before the games, they would give out these like big posters. Let me see if I can find that at the next dead ball, so we can all reminisce. Yeah, reminding us of how far we've come, honestly. Now we're on the right side of the typhoon. We don't have to take cover anymore. I'm fascinated to see what Dallas looks like in the playoffs. We'll see when Anthony Davis is able to come back, but they have so much depth. That's the thing that's frustrating, is like they're so stacked. But they just traded their nuclear weapon for a less effective weapon in Anthony Davis. But it has changed the way they play. It's going to change the way they play offensively big time. So I can't wait to see it. I'm fascinated. Yeah, I hope Miami loses just for selling last night. Yeah. Yeah, Miami's down a bunch of guys too tonight. I know Wiggins isn't playing, and their injury report was just long as hell. AD looked great. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's going to be able to fill in most of it, but he just can't. He's just not Luka. He's just not Luka. So he'll be able to give you, he's a fantastic player. He's an all NBA player. He's, maybe top 10, probably top 10 player in the NBA, right? So that's why I'm so fascinated to see, because we've seen Anthony Davis basically be the number one option on a championship team. I mean, LeBron was still the number one back then, but throughout different series, Anthony Davis was the guy who was really leading the charge. So I'm not completely ruling it out. I would love, I think it would be sweet if they proved everyone wrong and Anthony Davis just went on an insane run in the playoffs, and the Mavericks went to the finals again or something. But I got to see it. I'm morbidly curious. What team in the West and East needs the All-Star break? Ooh, okay. Good question here. Huh. I feel like Houston needs the All-Star break because they have been backsliding big time recently, and they have a handful of injuries as well. Dallas is another option. Yeah, Dallas is another team just because their front court rotation is gutted. You got no Gafford, no Lively, or Anthony Davis, so a week off to hopefully get someone back would help. In Orlando, yeah, probably just for a chance to hit the reset button. I mean, Orlando finally got healthy and then fell off a cliff, which I don't think anyone expected to see happen. This is interesting. I don't think I've ever seen someone running a marathon during a Cavs game. Team Blue got some work to catch up here. Yeah, Orlando definitely could use it. Dallas could use it. What's another team? I mean, OKC and Cleveland are basically just rolling. I think they're good. We'll take the All-Star break to hopefully get Wade and Okoro back, but we've been rolling. Um, I'll think about that. I'm gonna take a quick break and I'll see if I can find that stupid Golden State Warriors poster so we can all reminisce. All right, chat. I could not find the poster, but I did find the next best thing. This is from Saturday, October 6th, 2018, Cavs versus Celtics preseason game. We're about to take a trip down memory lane. Everyone remembers Cavalier legend Sam Decker. That's Kevin Love. Where is he? Hold on, this is a little difficult. Sam Decker. We were just talking about him yesterday. What a preseason game. If anyone doesn't remember, I mean, how could you forget? This is the game that J.R. Smith fought Jay Crowder, I believe. There was some weird beef going on there. Yeah, I mean, Rodney Hood was on this team. This was the first. Oh, no. I don't think this was J.R. Smith fighting the Celtics. Maybe it was. This was Colin Sexton's first game in the NBA. Preseason game. Yeah. We got Jordan Clarkson, Bonzi Colson, Sam Decker, Channing Frye, George Hill, John Holland, Rodney Hood, Kyle Korver. I mean, this was an elite roster. Jetty Osman, Billy Preston, Isaiah Taylor, Kobe Simmons, Colin Sexton. I mean, what a roster, guys. Look at these guys. Remember, the East still ran through Cleveland at that point. This is just to be clear to everyone. This is the team that Tristan Thompson was very confident in. Said that the East still runs through us. So you know what? Can't say Tristan Thompson lacks any confidence. That's for sure. Yeah, Kevin Love really hated Colin Sexton. A lot of the older Cavs guys hated Colin Sexton for some reason. That's why I became such a Colin defender. Everyone was being so mean to him. I was like, come on, he's not that bad. Now he's wasting away in Utah. All right, let's switch streams here real quick. Try to get some basketball back. Yeah, I don't know what I did. Maybe I burned that Warriors poster. I'm kidding. I didn't burn it, but I don't know where it is. The time when Deion Waiters hit LeBron in the face with the basketball, that's when I knew Deion Waiters was going to be traded. I think he was literally traded like 2 weeks later, maybe even less than 2 weeks. Yeah, don't hit LeBron in the face. Deion Waiters is such a funny player, man. I can't talk enough about Deion Waiters, the king of irrational confidence. But low key, like everybody needs confidence, like Deion Waiters had in himself. No, but everybody needs a little bit of Deion Waiters in them because that man believed in himself more than anybody else. Is Colin Sexton injured? Does anyone know? I feel like I haven't seen him play in a while. Love to do some young bull watch, but I feel like he's not playing. Yeah, it looks like he hasn't played recently. Can't tell if he's available tonight or not. No, he has an ankle injury. So unfortunately, no Colin Sexton. But the Jazz did just spank the Lakers last night, which was a little bit surprising. Luka Doncic very clearly still rusty. Yeah. Yeah, the rookie's been playing well. Oh, just gave that ball right back up. Yeah, they spanked the Lakers. Luka didn't look good. Luka really hasn't looked very good in either of the two games, but I wouldn't be worried if I was a Lakers fan. I would still be thanking the heavens that he just fell into our lap. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't have much interest actually watching this game. We're gonna go ahead and switch. Hopefully, one of these other games are back. Because yeah, the Clippers are just not exciting to me. I mean, they've been honestly a surprise team in my opinion because I thought the Clippers were gonna absolutely suck. So they've been, I think they're third in defense this year. Ooh, air ball from Moses Moody. Yeah, plot twist. Luca actually does just suck, man. Imagine the how vindicated Nico would feel if Luca really just sucked. I don't think he does, but that would kind of be a very funny outcome. Luca's just completely washed up at 26. That's actually impressive. 12, 10, and 4 for the rookie. Um, yeah, or I think so. I can't think of anything that would have changed that. It's not a good not a good stat to be included in for Lowry. Whoa, Draymond Green floater. Yeah, I mean, right now Houston is making it look too easy for Golden State. And I do think the Jimmy Butler addition is actually going to be pretty impactful for them. I mentioned it before, but it won't be enough to dig them all the way out of the hole that they have fallen into with this roster construction, but it raises their floor much, much higher than it was before. They could have easily missed the playoffs altogether. Now I feel pretty confident they'll be in the playoffs. I think Jimmy Butler just gives them some rim pressure. You know, a guy who can legitimately get to the rim, play a little bit of a different style. He's a playmaker, a true shot creator. Putting that next to Steph Curry, they haven't had that in a while, so it makes a big difference. Jimmy obviously motivated as ever to try and prove himself all over again. So just a big addition as far as vibes go, but also just on court fit. Like he actually fits pretty well. They still are they don't have the depth to be a true contender, but like I said, I think they'll get to the playoffs, and depending on the matchup, they could give a pretty competitive first round series. Like Golden State versus Houston versus Memphis, like that would be pretty competitive. Even Golden State versus the Lakers would be really fun just because both teams are I think the Lakers would win that, but both teams are kind of struggling as far as depth goes, but they still have like the OG superstars. So that would be a really fun matchup. I'd pick the Lakers to win, but that would be good for ratings, I'd imagine. Yeah, great point, old kid. Yeah, the fact that he gets to the line too. The Warriors just like I said, they have no rim presence and they have no one who really gets to the line all that much. Like Steph Curry's the only guy who really puts pressure on the opposing team offensively. So just getting another guy who could score easy buckets. What's going on, Dylan? Welcome in, man. Talking about some potential playoff series. I think Golden State versus the Lakers would be a lot of fun, just as far as a Warriors matchup goes. Draymond just now realizing that this could be their last run is pretty funny. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Steph still has the baby face, but he's what, 33 years old? How old is Steph? No, he's older than that. He's old. Is he 36? Yeah, I don't know why I said 33. He's 36. Oh my goodness, dude. It's crazy. He still looks like he's 25. He took a little bit longer. Oh yeah, 37 in March. He took a little bit longer to really break out than I think people remember. Because he had so many injuries early on in his career, and then when he finally broke out as an MVP, like he was already a little bit older than it felt. Ooh, what would be like the best first round series for Wemby? Would it be Memphis? I mean, if they end up making it as the eighth seed, which seems like that's the position that they would end up being in, Spurs would get steamrolled by OKC. But Wemby versus Chad is fun, so that's a fun individual matchup. Outside of that, the only let's say somehow the Spurs manage to get the seven seed. Is there any team that you think they even have a shot in hell against? Probably not. I would say the only team maybe is Memphis. I'm not really a huge believer in Memphis, but either way, Wemby versus Chat would be a lot of fun. Wemby versus Zach Edey is fun. Just those gargantuan. Just that would be one hell of a matchup in the front court in terms of size. Sengun versus Wemby wouldn't be fun because Sengun is just going to elbow him a million times, probably injure him. Yeah, I do wonder if the Spurs are even going to try to make the playoffs or if they end up tanking, if they end up bottoming out here. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that they just added Fox too. It actually gives them a little bit more of a chance. Yeah, Wemby versus Chet is a great matchup, especially if the Spurs shock the Thunder and manage to steal. They won't beat them, but if the Spurs manage to win game one or something and end up pushing it to 5 or 6, that series would definitely do good in terms of ratings. What's the most fun potential first round matchup that we can think of in either conference? I'll look at the NBA standings now to try and think. Honestly, Lakers Warriors is probably pretty high up there for me just because the narratives and because both teams are they're so thin in terms of depth that I could just see some crazy performances happening. Clippers Houston would be interesting. Yeah, the defense would be nasty, especially if Kawhi plays. That's one thing to keep in mind. Kawhi, he exists. He still exists. He hasn't played much, but he's still out there lurking. Would love to see one more playoff run from Kawhi. I don't think it happens this year. It might not happen ever, but I would love to see one more run out of Kawhi. Just a healthy run, even if it's just 2 rounds. Oh yeah, Ben Simmons making his debut. Is he playing right now? We'll switch over there real quick. I mean, I'm not, we're probably not missing anything, but let's see. Yep, there he is. I'd imagine we're not going to miss much, or we wouldn't have been missing much, but let's see what's going to happen here. Cavs fans were very hyped about the potential of adding Ben Simmons. OKC Dallas healthy. Yeah. Yeah, that would be a fun first round matchup. Cavs LQ. I'm right there with you. I guess I shouldn't have said many Cavs fans were hyped. A select few of Cavs fans. Yeah, Utah last night just taking it to the Lakers. I didn't really watch too much of the game, but definitely a surprise game. I would have thought that the Lakers would handle business pretty easily there. Give me 1 second. But yeah, Ben Simmons, it's not a hot take. He's washed up. He's washed up, and he doesn't seem to care about basketball. So that's why I didn't really mind missing out on him. Yeah, the fact that LA was one of the teams that had space for him probably helped us out. So if it was like Cleveland and Detroit as the two options, he might have came to Cleveland. But he was like, "Oh, I can go to LA, make however much he signed for, and not really have to worry about playing serious basketball." Sure. Oh, he has a home in LA already too. Well, there you go. Yeah, I just haven't seen any reason, anything, not even just recently, anything throughout Ben Simmons' entire basketball career that suggests to me that he's a guy who just has a burning desire to compete for a championship. He's just complacent. He's just complacent. He's entitled. He's a very frustrating player when you look at the raw physical gifts that he had, and he has just never taken basketball seriously. Look at that. He just got beat completely lost on the backdoor cut right there. I'll give him a little bit of credit because he's new to the team and it looks like him and whoever was in the corner with him had their wires crossed, but yeah, just immediately giving up a dunk. Yeah, they also get Bogdanovich, which is interesting. He was having a pretty bad year in Atlanta. Look at his IG. You can see he's not going to fit into the Cavs locker room. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like it's a delicate balance. It's a delicate balance with the team chemistry. And again, Ben Simmons, I'm piling on him, but he just doesn't seem like a great locker room guy. And there you go, another 3 points given up by him right there, just kind of falling asleep. Again, I'll try and give him a little bit of a pass here because this is literally his first 2 minutes with the team, but already he's given up a backdoor alley oop dunk and was pretty late to contest that 3 pointer. Doesn't strike me as a guy who's locked in. And again, it'll always annoy me that he entered the league with the big question mark of can he shoot the 3 pointer? Will he ever develop a 3 point shot? And at no point did he ever even try to be a 3 point shooter. He never even pretended that that was something he was working on or trying to get better at. Um, you'd see him shoot in the open gym in summer, and that was it. He never even attempted it, except for the gym runs in June. Yeah, that was it. He'll post that stupid little video and get everyone hype, and then he won't even attempt 3 pointers in the NBA. And like every other player, Giannis, whoever else, like even Isaac Okoro, even a role player, like they're all out there. Yeah, it's their weakness, but they're at least trying to get better at it, and they're attempting to do it in game. Ben Simmons he's just scared. He was just afraid of the moment, completely terrified, and it's just not something that you want on your team. He's got some trauma, and there he look at the elevation that he didn't get on that dunk attempt. I know I'm being very mean to him, but like the dude is washed up. He's washed up. He barely got his hands above the rim right there on that lob attempt. So I think the Cavs were very. I would say they're very wise to pass up on him. It seems like maybe he passed up on them, but the Cavs are fortunate to not have that guy on their team. That's my 2 cents on it. Yeah, even Al Horford and Brook Lopez figured it out. like, it's just frustrating. Okay, let's check on OKC. Yeah, I don't know how hard the Cavs, like how much Kobe Altman was truly interested in him. I don't know if we'll ever really find the details on that, but yeah, I'm just happy that he's in LA and we got DeAndre Hunter. I'd still like to see if the Cavs manage to add anybody on the buyout market, but to be honest with you, the buyout market's just not looking that good. It's not looking that appealing. I think Mo Bamba's still out there. Look, he didn't have that song written about him, no one would even know who he is at this point. But no, listen, if there's no other options, I'd take a swing on Mo Bamba. But there's a reason why it hasn't worked out for him yet in the NBA. So the buyout market just isn't very appealing. But you never know. I honestly at that point, yeah, he doesn't feel meaningfully different than JT Thor. I was just about to say at that point, I would either convert one of the two-way guys, or if you're gonna sign someone on the buyout market, take a chance on like a young center. Honestly, we know who Mo Bamba is at this point. I don't think Mo Bamba is gonna turn it around magically. Take a chance on a younger guy who just hasn't really had an opportunity yet. You're probably gonna miss, but I feel like it's a better shot than trying someone like Mo Bamba. And for the Cavs, they have less incentive to do that because they're a title contender. So you don't really have time to be taking a chance on a younger guy. That's more of like you know, like the Wizards should be trying that or something. But yeah, if they sign Mo Bamba, I won't be upset at all. Moses Brown, bring him back. Yeah, where's Diakite playing? Um, I wouldn't be surprised if they just end up converting a two-way guy though. And as far as as far as I could tell, Luke Travers has been the most successful of the two-way guys. He doesn't fit that the need for a backup big, but if you're just giving a two-way guy to the guy who's earned it, if you're giving a standard contract to a two-way player who has earned it, Luke Travers is the closest to it. Yeah, Timberwolves winning right now. Let's deal Oklahoma City a loss. Are they the best team in basketball right now, record wise? I haven't been keeping up with it. I know it was back and forth between us and Oklahoma City for a while. I'm assuming OKC. I'll tell you right now. Oh, they're 44-9. We're 44-10. So yeah, if they lose, we'll be tied. Whoa! Flip that up and in. Wow. Yeah, that was a creative finish. I thought he was passing it, to be honest with you, and then he just flipped it up and in. All right, so they go to the half of the 8-point lead. As we've already mentioned before, Oklahoma City just had to rally back down 21 against the Miami Heat. It's the last game for the All-Star break. They've picked up enough wins. We'll see if they come out with any fire in the second half. Let's see what's going on with the Golden State Warriors game. Yeah, Ants and the G League guys getting it done. Yeah, the Warriors are just decimating the Houston Rockets. This is a bit disappointing. I was hoping for a better game. Houston has struggled quite a lot since their Mickey Mouse run against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They honestly could have lost both of those games easily. If Darius Garland hits free throws, and if the Cavs just execute a bit better in the second game. But yeah, they've had a pretty hard fall off. Mm. Sengun trying to get him back into it. Let's see what's going on over here. Up commercial. What about this one? Up another commercial. This one? All right, now we got some basketball. Here's Ben Simmons again. Let's see what he's made of. Prove me wrong, Ben. Um, Oh, Dr. Manhattan, don't remind me. They go on that whole comeback against Houston and then they change it up for no reason. They switched up the whole scheme. They took the entire momentum out of the building by intentionally fouling Steven Adams, and I think he made 3 out of 4 free throws, right? They didn't even work out that way. Disrupted the entire rhythm of the game. There was another really goofy decision that Kenny made that game that I can't remember what it was now. Yeah, Kenny has proven that he is not a flawless supercomputer in the last month or so. He's had a few mistakes here or there, but still coach of the year in my opinion. Still doing great overall, but there have been moments where we're like, okay, maybe the zone, the commitment to the zone, certain things. The one thing that I appreciate about Kenny though is that he has never been shy to immediately take ownership and accountability when he makes a mistake. Immediately after the Houston game, he acknowledged that he messed up, switched into the hack of Adams. First game against Boston, he talked a lot about how, it's his fault for not getting Mobley more involved down the stretch. Like Kenny Atkinson seems to be very aware of his shortcomings. And so that's pretty awesome. The Philly game hurt. Philly game hurt more than the Houston game almost. The second Houston game was the first Houston game was worse. Then the Philly loss was second worst. And then the second Houston game was the third worst during that losing streak. But they all hurt. But Kenny Atkinson, yeah, I mean, overall, he's done a fantastic job. But we've had a couple moments there, a couple blunders recently. Kenny Atkinson, apparently, I heard was he had said that the Cavs in recent years were a pretty basic, as far as defense, they had pretty basic coverages. Like they didn't really experiment much defensively, and so that's been a goal of his is to just work on a bunch of different things and see what ends up. What happens, what sticks basically. What is it sounded like a little bit of a slam on JB. I don't know the context for it, but he basically said that they ran some very basic coverages in the past, and to be honest with you, it's kind of true. Like I've said this a bunch of times and I wish we could find the stat on it, but feels like the Cavs almost never switched anything under JB. Like I would imagine they had to be near the bottom of the league in terms of switching. And under Kenny Atkinson, they're switching a lot of stuff. They're experimenting with the zone. They're experimenting with different matchups, different lineups. And so I think that's a good thing for Kenny. Not everything's going to work. You're going to find things that just, the zone isn't really working, for example, but I like that he's experimenting and just trying to find stuff out. I would love to see him bring back, now that we have DeAndre Hunter, I would love to see Kenny bring back that zone where Evan Mobley is at the top of the key, the 3-2 zone with Evan Mobley at the top. Can't really do that in the recent years. After we lost Larry Markkinen, you couldn't really do that. And even DeAndre Hunter might be overextended trying to play down there with Jared Allen, but it opens up the possibility to do that again. The problem was if you had Mobley up at the top, you just had Jared Allen down there with like Max Strus and that as the two down in the paint, and that's not really a good lineup. But if you have DeAndre Hunter, maybe he brings it back. I don't know. I'd like to see it just for my own personal agenda. So yeah, so far I didn't see anything from Ben Simmons that made me feel like the Cavs made a mistake, but who knows? He has the ball right here. Maybe he'll do something wild with it. My guess is he's going to pass it. Yeah. That's all he does on offense now. He just plays hot potato with the ball. Okay. Gets steal. I see you, Ben. Yeah, it's a 4 shooting game for the Clippers right now. Just 28 points, 4 minutes into the second quarter. They have not hit a field goal in almost 5 minutes. All right, let's switch over to a different game. I think this one just went to halftime, right? Halftime. Okay, well, this is a close game. We got DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, Sabonis out there, Keegan Murray. Yeah, I mean, it's Sacramento has a lot of good guys. You just look at the 5 players out there right now, and it's pretty solid lineup. Generate a wide open 3 for Zach LaVine. Good offense right there. I really don't know who's on the floor for New Orleans. I'm not going to lie. Oh. Alvarado is lurking back there. I don't know if you guys saw him. Jokic was throwing up nonsense that entire series, dude. He was hitting that one-legged step back moonshot, almost hitting the jumbotron. Like Jokic was just working with some devil magic against the Lakers. And then the next year, so there's the Western Conference Finals. Jokic is hitting all sorts of crazy shots. Jamal Murray too. But then in 2024, Jamal Murray hits the 2-game winners. He was working with devil magic. They have the Lakers number. It's really crazy because it was a sweep in the conference finals, but every game was decided in like the last minute. It was wild. Jokic just was invincible in the final minute. Same with Murray. Deja vu that we need home court against the Celtics, but the Celtics are actually bad at home and number one on the road in the NBA. Yeah, it's dude, the Celtics, they worry me. They worry me a lot. Uh they just I really feel like they're just sleepwalking right now. Oh, here's Jackson. Celtics suck. I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough as hell if we play them in the playoffs. Yeah, that's the other thing, Dr. Manhattan. He was cooking AD. Like, he was playing up against Anthony Davis. It's probably one of, if not the best front court defender that you would want against Jokic. And Jokic just had no trouble. It's that 2023 run, legitimately one of the greatest individual runs to a championship ever. And he had a lot of help, but that was one of the best playoff runs of all time. Hopefully the Cavs will be starting Hunter by then. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on there. Fedor wrote that story about like Max Strus proved why he earns the starting job. I'm like, DeAndre Hunter played better than him in that game. Max Strus was great too. Honestly, the most important thing is just, they have options now, so they can close lineups with a ton of different lineups, or they can close games with a ton of different lineups now, which is great. But yeah, Jackson, I did steal your take. Sorry. I absolutely stole your take, but it was a good take. It was a good take. It's a great take. Cavs LQ says I prefer Max or Wade starting. It definitely, if Dean Wade's healthy, I can understand the argument for starting Dean Wade because he has more chemistry with the core four. But if you're just telling me who I think the best 5-man lineup the Cavs have, it's the core four plus DeAndre Hunter. So that's typically how teams start the game, is with their best 5-man lineup, and that's how they close them too. So I would have DeAndre Hunter starting, but I can see the case for Dean Wade. Honestly, I don't like having Max Strus start if you have Wade and Hunter available, but I can understand starting Strus because the advanced analytics are off the charts when he's with the core four. But again, when you watch the games with your eyeballs, you need a DeAndre Hunter out there. I don't care what the advanced analytics show. You need a wing, whether it's DeAndre Hunter or Dean Wade. You need some size out there on the perimeter, and the Cavs don't have any when it's Max Strus. And I love Max Strus, but he just can't contest shots that DeAndre Hunter can. And yeah, it matters who they close with in a close game. And there's a million different lineups they can use now. It could be one of the bigs and Hunter and Wade out there. Like, imagine Evan Mobley, Dean Wade, DeAndre Hunter, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland closing a game. That's a very viable lineup. Same thing, but replace Mobley with Allen if it's one of those games. Like, there's just so many options. The Knicks host said that we are miles behind Boston. Plus, if it was Knicks versus Boston, it's a toss-up because he's still, yeah. It's so funny to me that people still hold on. Even Anthony Lima tweeted today something about like Darius Garland was talking trash to a fan. Tristan Thompson's getting into a fight. Jared Allen got ejected, and then he said, like, are the Cavs shedding their soft reputation that they've earned over the last few postseasons? I'm like, what did they do last year that was soft? I'm sorry, I'm just confused. Like, they had one series 2 years ago. Last year, they beat the Orlando Magic, one of the toughest teams in the NBA. Like, Orlando, the one thing everyone said about the Magic over and over again is they're the toughest team in the NBA. They're so scrappy. They're so physical. We beat them in 7 games, and it was a dogfight, too. We didn't beat them because we were shooting lights out from 3. We got into a dogfight with them and beat them. And then against the Celtics, that's the other thing that pisses me off, too, just to be clear. Oh, the Cavs need to prove that they can be tough against Boston. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are the tough guys. I'm supposed to believe that Boston is a team full of tough guys. I'm sorry, but like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, we're supposed to think that the Cavs aren't tough enough to go up against the Boston Celtics. They're soft. They're a soft team. They're the defending champs, and they deserve a lot of credit. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they're a great team, but it's not like they're the epitome of physicality in today's NBA. It's just so stupid. It's such a stupid narrative. Yeah, the Cavs got punked against New York 2 years ago. I get it. The team, it's a completely different team now. There's only 5 guys who were on the team. Not even 5, is it? Oh no, it is 5. Yeah, it's the core 4 and Dean Wade. Those are the only guys who have returned. from that series all those years ago. And for the Knicks, it's just Brunson and Josh Hart, I believe, and Mitchell Robinson. So completely different teams. The Cavs have grown up in many ways. They've matured. They've become tougher, like absolutely 100%. Mentally tougher, physically tougher, any way you want to write it up. So it's such a nonsensical take to have. And also toughness, I'm sorry, toughness doesn't win a championship. Yes, toughness is important, but like you also have to just be a good basketball team, and that's what the Cavs are. They're one of the best teams in the NBA. So the Knicks, they don't even have the tough. The Knicks shouldn't be considered a tough team anymore. They shouldn't be considered a tough team anymore, at least not in the same way that they were 2 years ago, because they've completely overhauled their roster. So they shouldn't have the same reputation. But dude, they would get cooked by Boston in a playoff series if both teams were healthy. Boston is just New York tried to recreate what Boston did, and Boston is still the by far superior version of it. So, like, I don't like. Could you imagine Karl Anthony Towns in a playoff series against Boston? That dude is going to struggle. He's going to get played completely off the floor. They're going to put him in drop, and he's going to get eviscerated. The only chance they have is if the Celtics just have 4 out of 7 games where they're shooting like 25% from three, but they're not going to struggle to get open threes against Karl Anthony Towns. So I don't see how New York can compete with Boston. Uh, and yeah, the idea that the Cavs are miles behind Boston, there's just literally no reason to think that. I still give Boston the edge. I still think Boston probably beats us in a playoff series. That could change if DeAndre Hunter over the next 25 games, DeAndre Hunter looks like a huge upgrade. Because I think he's a big upgrade, but let me put it this way. I think Boston has an advantage, but I think DeAndre Hunter 100% narrows the gap. The question is, does he completely, do we clear that gap, or is there still a little bit of an advantage left for Boston? That's what I'm leaning towards. I think Boston still has a slight upper hand, but the idea that the Cavs are miles away, but New York could be competitive with them, that's silly. Like, I'm sorry, that's just stupid. I think a Cavs Celtics series, if I'm assuming both teams are healthy and both teams are playing well, because obviously you could have a series where Boston, one reason or the other, completely collapses mentally. Same thing with the Cavs. Like, if I'm just assuming that both teams are healthy and throwing their best punch, I would probably pick Boston to win in 6 or 7. And at that point, that's pretty close to a toss-up. Especially if it goes 7, anything could happen. So I don't think there's a huge gap between Boston and Cleveland. I still would have Boston ahead of them, but I just don't. It's just stupid. And you know what it comes down to is you got to prove it in the playoffs. The Cavs, unfortunately, 2 years ago they lose in the first round to New York, and that permanently stained their resume. They don't get credit for beating Orlando for some reason, but that it is what it is. And then they lost in 5 to Boston last year. Again, people don't even remember that Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell, like Donovan Mitchell missed the majority of that series. Jared Allen missed the entirety of that series. And we played 5 relatively competitive games, but all people remember is that the Cavs lost to New York and they lost in 5 to the Celtics. So until the Cavs beat the Celtics or beat the Knicks or win the championship or whatever, they're always going to have this unfair reputation. So that's just kind of the reality. But it's not going to stop me from going on a rant. Here's the thing with Boston. I think they're beatable. It's not like last year when it seemed like it seemed like they were unbeatable last year. I'm taking the Cavs for the simple fact that the Cavs are athletic with the addition of DeAndre Hunter. I think D. Mitch and Darius will step up. Mobley is the key. And in all honesty, the way he's been playing recently, like, yeah, listen, we'll see. By the time we get to the playoffs, I could be fully on board with the Cavs beating the Celtics in a series, especially if both teams make it to the conference finals. My opinion could change for sure by then. If the Cavs, like, I don't know who they'll play in the first round or second round, but if the Cavs are just knocking teams out with authority and the Celtics, maybe they run it, they'll probably have an easy first round, but maybe they do struggle against New York in the second round or something, or maybe they draw Milwaukee and they struggle in the second round there. I could change my mind. But right now I'll give them a slight edge. But yeah, I mean, as Dr. Manhattan says, last year, the Boston Celtics legitimately looked unbeatable. They looked like a cheat code when Kristaps was out there. And they haven't felt like that for most of the year. I do think there's quite a bit of coasting going on. I think they're a little bit of a sleeping giant, but they don't feel as unbeatable as they did last year. Yeah, Demo, that's the thing. Like, if the Cavs draw Milwaukee in the second round and we beat them in 4 or 5, I might start talking a little crazy. Maybe we really could beat Boston at that point. Is what I'd be thinking. But as of right now, I will give the champs the benefit of the doubt. But this playback chat might get reckless if we go to the conference finals only having lost 2 games. Like if we, or even just one game, if we sweep the first round opponent and then win in 5 against Milwaukee, yeah, this place is going to get a little reckless. There'll be some hot takes flying. And listen, if Milwaukee manages to, oh, Minnesota's selling, let's switch. By the way, if Milwaukee manages to get healthy, like stay healthy in the playoffs, and they play Boston in the second round, I would pick Boston for sure. But I could see Giannis just going absolute world beater and potentially knocking them out. Because I mean, Kristaps is a really good rim protector, but if he's not healthy, like I'll never project injuries, but like I could see a world in which Milwaukee gets a lucky draw in terms of health. Maybe Kristaps misses a couple games and Al Horford is just in hell trying to contain Giannis. Like, I don't know. I could just see that happening. And if in a crazy scenario, because basketball, the NBA, is crazy, it's unpredictable. If the conference finals is Cavs versus Bucks, get ready to buy that conference finals championship shirt because we're going to the finals 100%. We're beating the Milwaukee Bucks. You can put that in the newspaper. I'm not worried about the Bucks. I'm worried about Giannis, but I think we beat the Bucks 100%. We will not lose to Kyle Kuzma, all right? Cavs fans, it will not happen. Yeah, and saying that Boston doesn't need Porzingis against us is crazy. That completely changes the matchup if Porzingis isn't healthy. And I mean, the Cavs, like every single game so far against Boston, they have fallen down by 20. So that would lend you to think that Boston is pretty comfortable against us. But the reality is, every game has come down. The last game, the most recent game, I will say Boston was pretty firmly in the lead the entire time. But the first two games especially came down to the wire. Uh, Dr. Manhattan, another thing with the hypothetical Knicks series, Mobley and JA will probably even Hunter, I think, all three of them will shut out Cat for the entire series. Imagine having to deal with Mobley and Allen on defense. Yeah, I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, he's had a great season with the Knicks, but when it comes to the playoffs, we've seen time and time again, he's going to get picked on. And Jared Allen and Evan Mobley can do as good of a job as any other team in the league at defending opposing front court players. Karl Anthony Towns being able to space the floor against them could pose some issues. They've had trouble with that in the past, but I don't know how Karl Anthony Towns hangs against us on defense for him because we have the best offense in the NBA, and he's just going to get torched. Like, there's really no easy way for them to hide Karl Anthony Towns. You can hide a point guard who's bad on defense a little easier in the NBA, but when it's your center who's the one struggling, it's really tough to cover that up. And yeah, maybe Mitchell Robinson will change that for them, but I then you have your spacing issues on the other end. And I also just don't know Mitchell. Speaking of riding the reputation of 2023, Mitchell Robinson has rode that reputation for quite a while. I'm not sure how good he is. I'm not sure if Mitchell Robinson should be viewed in the light that he is. I don't know because people talk about this like, oh well, yeah, the Knicks they kind of suck on defense at center, but don't worry, Mitchell Robinson will be back and he'll change it. Will he? Will he really change it that much? I don't know if he's quite that good to completely save that defense. The Knicks suck, yeah. I mean, look, they don't suck, but I think the Cavs in 5, run it back, Cavs in 5. Cavs could definitely beat them pretty handily. Yeah, I don't really think Mitchell Robinson's gonna be the. Yeah, I don't know if a shoe is better, but I mean I don't know. I'd have to see what Robinson looks like uh, with all the injuries that he's had, but he's really never been that good. I feel like that playoff series inflated his reputation quite a bit. And the problem is Bridges hasn't. I mean, Bridges has turned it on rather, since the new year. But man, I mean, I just don't know. Like him and Anunoby, they're good, but are they good enough? That's the question. Are they really good enough uh, to rely on the way that they rely on them? I don't know. I just don't know if they're Anunoby is still a pretty good defender, but Bridges has seemingly taken a big step back. And if Anunoby and Bridges aren't able to contain Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, then what are you really getting out of these two big trades that you've made? Not even including the Karl Anthony Towns trade, because we know he's not going to be able to contain them. But if Anunoby and Bridges both struggle, then I just don't see a path forward for New York. Yeah, let's lock into this game a little bit. Yeah, the Knicks peaked in high school. They get so much credit for beating us in 2023 when it was the 4-5 matchup, man. It was the 4-5. Could have gone either way. The Cavs were like slightly favored, but people treat that like it was an 8-1 upset. And then they lose to the Miami Heat. I've already gone on this rant before. I remember I've gone on the same rant, but they lose to the Miami Heat, who had no business going to the finals that year. And then last year, they they beat the Sixers, which, sure, that was a really hard fought series. I'll give them credit for that. They lose to the Pacers, man. I know there were some injuries, but like you lost to the Pacers. Why do they still get this like flawless playoff reputation? I don't know. I'm gonna try and focus on this game now instead of ranting about the Knicks for the 80th time in the last 2 years. Cavs and Thunder are tryhards when they're down. Yeah. Yeah. OKC on a comeback right now. It's good to see Chet back out there. Timberwolves playing with a ton of injuries tonight. Whoa. Okay, a lot of contact there, but it looked like Hartenstein had its hand straight up. Mm, yep. Hartenstein making a difference right there. Hartenstein was great against the Cavs in that series. Like he was honestly. No, 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 no. I won't say. I was gonna say he was more impactful than Robinson. That's not true at all. But Hartenstein was a huge difference maker in that series because Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, they're getting their asses kicked for the entire game. There was no backup big on the Cavs. So Allen and Mobley are basically playing 48 minutes. And while Mitchell Robinson played like 18 minutes per game that series. And then he played like 20, 22 or whatever. And then Hartenstein came off the bench and he was only playing like 20 minutes. Meanwhile, Allen and Mobley are exhausted and Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson are just tag teaming them. Like it was just wild. It was wild. Their depth really made a big difference there. On the fact that you could just Mitchell Robinson did his thing. Mobley, Allen are absolutely exhausted, and then Hartenstein comes off the bench, fresh, ready to go, and just does it all over to them again. So that was another reason why they had so much success in that series. They don't have that anymore. Dude, I'm not even kidding, Demo. Tristan Thompson in that series, it might go 7. Just Tristan Thompson alone, it might go 7. Even if you just had Kevin Love, if you just didn't let Kevin Love go, you might get to 6 at least. Just a guy who can grab a damn rebound. I mean, like I know a lot of the issue was scheme related, but it was also the fact that Allen and Mobley, it was many things compounding on each other. So yeah, it's wild looking back at that team, man. They really and you know what's crazy is we always talk about the rebounding, but I still stand by the reason we lost is we couldn't score more than 85 points in the game. I think we scored under 100 4 out of the 5 games. Yeah, Danny Green. Danny Green was out there. Lamar Stevens was out there in game 5. I mean, they just couldn't score. They just couldn't score. Even at like you could run that back and give up the same amount of offensive rebounds, but just have like a regular offensive series from Donovan Mitchell, and it might go 6 or 7 alone just off of that. Even if Darius Garland plays a little bit better, it might have gone 6 or 7. They were just everyone was so bad on offense. Yeah, Minnesota responding here. extending the series up to 7. Dylan, it got so bad I was calling for Lamar Stevens to check into the game. I think by game 4. I think by game 3 or 4, but probably by game 3 even, I was like, they need to play Lamar Stevens. They just need a guy who is going to be physical and tough. And I just went on the whole rant about toughness and everything, but they just needed a physical guy out there. Love Jetty, but Lamar Stevens is a different type of small forward. And you needed somebody to go out there and hit back because New York was hitting us all over the place. Yeah, save me, Danny Green. JB got coached out of his socks that series. Well, 100%. I mean, offensively, defensively, he got cooked a million different ways. It was a very, very bad series for JB Bickerstaff. I think you could argue even just changing coaches, that series might go 6 or 7. Everything went wrong for the Cavs. Jesus, Demo. I think I tried to erase that from my memory, but you brought it right back. Yeah, they put Jetty Osman on Brunson. They were like, this is the matchup we want. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Even though Isaac Okoro sucked that series, he was still a better option on we're opening up old wounds. There's no point in being upset. You had to play Jetty because no one could score, but Okoro was the best option to have on Brunson, and he barely played that entire series. Ricky Rubio, breaks my heart to say it, but the man was washed at that point. Smoked that layup, and I knew the series was going sideways when that happened. Oh yeah, moving Karras into the starting lineup too. That was after we won game 2, right? He changed the starting lineup. I remember feeling really perplexed by that. Yeah, shout out Kobe, man. Shout out Kobe for not overreacting because that could have easily been the end of the core 4. You could have traded Jared Allen for sure, but you could have even talked yourself into trading Garland. But yeah, we win game 2, and then JB was like, sweet, let's switch it up. Let's not do that again. This year, things have changed. Yeah. Things have definitely changed. And that's the thing that frustrates me, not to keep harping on this, but Orlando last year was a pretty, a pretty comparable matchup to what New York did to us in 2023. Like they posed a lot of the same issues, and we overcame that. So I feel like a lot of these issues we should have already been vindicated for a lot of this because we beat Orlando. Orlando was basically the Knicks 2.0. Less talented, but that's basically their style of basketball. And we managed to beat them in a dogfight. Yeah, we had no Dean. Isaac had the knee injury. Just a tough series that was. Um, John Blair owes us reparations. Yeah, and the biggest thing that has changed. I mean, there's a lot of different things that has changed, but probably the biggest one to wrap up this discussion: the Cavs are the best offense in the NBA now. They have the number 1 offense. They've had it all year, and that was the issue. That was always the issue. They couldn't score. Now they've addressed that as literally as well as they could have. They are the number 1 offense in the NBA. They could not have done a better job in that regard. So that's the big thing. That's why I feel confident because I know that they can play defense with anybody. And now I've seen over and over again that they can score against anybody. And the only times this season where they have struggled to score is when they went against teams that had a lot of wing defenders like the Atlanta Hawks, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Boston Celtics. And that's why you went out and got DeAndre Hunter. And you managed to get DeAndre Hunter with only giving up Karis LeVert and George Niang, which I think is awesome because, man, it seemed like the package was going to be a lot more than that originally. So, hell yeah, Cavs. I think they got to be aiming for Eastern Conference Finals at worst this season. And Mobley is the X factor, man. If Evan Mobley plays like the all NBA caliber player that we've seen at times this season, they can beat anybody. If he's putting up 25, 10, 5, and 4, like he has been recently, the 4 blocks, the 5 assists, like if he's doing stuff like that, he can dominate Boston. And we've seen him do it. It is important to keep in mind, still very young. He's still young, but I believe he can do it. I really do. So I'm excited. Only about 2 months away before the playoffs start, man. Yeah, and he's overcome Tingus Pingus, that's for sure. DG is gonna go crazy. Just getting chills thinking about it. But yeah, only about 2 months away. And we're gonna switch over. All right, yeah. Oh, whoa, whoa! Houston came back. I thought we were tuning into a blowout. I was gonna say we'll watch the end of this game and then wrap up the stream, but it's a 4 point game. Isn't it crazy, Dr. Manhattan? I feel like the year always, when you get to this time of the year in the NBA season, I feel like it's like a blur. The last month or so of the year goes by so quick, I think. Like post All-Star break always seems to end so quick. I'm going to be sad when it's over, that's for sure. 22-5 run at the end of the third to get back into the game. All right, so it looks like we're going to get a good game after all between the Warriors and Rockets. This is what I was expecting to be the best game of the night. It was like there was a challenge, maybe. Paulo is looking very cute right now, sleeping, all curled up. But yeah, tomorrow, Jackson will be hosting a Rising Stars live watch party. So shout out to Jackson. Hopefully everyone joins him for that. Jackson is a beast. Give Jack the credit he deserves. Tomorrow I will be going to PF Chang's for Valentine's Day. That's where I decided to get reservations. Is that a dub or an L? I like PF Chang's. My girlfriend is not in the chat, so I can say that. She doesn't know where we're going. But I think PF Chang's is a dub. You know what? I haven't been there in forever. So I was like, I think this is where I set my eyes on. It's a good spot. Dude, I want to see the Hard Eyes movie too. I've heard really good things about it. Um, the problem is my girlfriend, not good with gore, and I've heard the movie is very gory. So we're not going to watch it on Valentine's Day, but I am going to try to talk her into it because I've heard it's really good. I love Mason Gooding and Olivia Holt, the two of the actors in it. So I've heard nothing but good reviews. So I'm going to try to talk her into seeing that. Demo's going to an Italian seafood place and then seeing a musical. That's pretty fire. That sounds like a lot of fun. Are you talking about PF Chang's? Dang, your cousin's a hater. It's just like I feel like it's like a standard, it's not hibachi, but it's just like a standard Chinese restaurant, like a higher scale one. It's not super duper fancy. It's kind of like the Olive Garden of like Asian food, kind of. Yeah, it's generic East Asian. Ooh, Steph with a big 3 pointer. Here, give me 1 second. Let me show you guys real quick. Hold on. I'll show this off. All right. Let me just double check. She's not in the chat. Sometimes my girlfriend pops in. She's not here though. All right, I'll show you guys. This is relevant to the stream. This is why I'm pulling it out. Show you guys what I got. So I bought a couple things. I won't show you all of it, but she's trying to become a Cavs fan. We're gonna go see Cavs versus Spurs later this year in March. So I had to get her. She has no Cavs stuff, so I had to get her some Cavs merch. We got the land. Donovan Mitchell, 45. She likes the blue, she said. So went ahead and got that for her. Figured that was fire. And then I only plan on getting the one, but this was like a Valentine's Day related Cavs shirt. Had to get it. The Cavs logo with a heart on it. Feel like that it's a black long sleeve. Feel like those were hits. So I had to do it. So now she's got two different Cavs shirts. She can choose what she wants to wear when we go see Wemby. Hopefully, Wemby will play. I haven't seen Wemby in person yet. So we're gonna go in March to go see that. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. So those are two of the gifts that I got her. I wish that they had more of the blue shirts and everything, but that was the only option they had. But you know what? Donovan Mitchell, she's a Spida fan now. Her favorite player is Jared Allen, I think. She hasn't. She's still figuring it out. She does like Jared Allen because he's a cat dad. She also likes Max Strus because he's a Noah Khan fan. I always want to say Noah Kahan, but I believe it is Noah Khan. So yeah, I couldn't get the 31. They only had the Donovan Mitchell one. I was really surprised. I went to Dick's, and the Cavs section is incredibly small. I haven't been to Dick's like in a very long time, but the Cavs section, it was like a tiny little corner, and there was just a couple like t-shirt racks and then the jerseys, and that was it. I was a little disappointed. Yeah, they're haters. I was expecting to see, like, I was looking for the Metro Park stuff, which I know that was last year's thing, or was it 2 years? It was 2 years ago, so I wasn't sure if it would be there, but the blue for sure I was looking for, but this was all they had. Yeah, apparently it's hard to get proper Cavs stuff outside of the arena because I went to Dick's in Crocker Park, and then I went over to Rally House. And they Rally House has much better selections. I'll tell you that much. If you're looking for Cavs stuff, go to a Rally House. But even they didn't have much of the blue stuff. Yeah, the Sam Merrill jersey, I would have bought that for Jackson if I could have. You know, yeah, the City Edition stuff is tough to find. Jalen Green celebrated his 23rd birthday yesterday with his 40-year-old girlfriend. Yeah, it's a little questionable age gap there, but you know what? I hope they're happy. That's all I can say. I don't know too much about his personal life, but that's a questionable gap. I'm gonna go set this down real quick. All right, let's see what happens in the final minute here. Final couple minutes. Good response from Golden State to weather the comeback. Oh, Draymond. Never want Draymond to hit the dagger. Still some time left though. 9-point deficit. 3 minutes left. Someone called her grandma. Yeah. Oh, I didn't think that shot was going in. All right, what are the Warriors going to run here? This is the nice thing. You get Jimmy Butler handling the ball, and he is like a legitimate shot creator, and you have Steph Curry screening for him. Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. Classic Warriors play, the split action. Toss it to Draymond. Steph screens for Jimmy Butler. Two stay with Steph. Jimmy Butler goes back door. Easy bucket. They ran that against Dallas yesterday too, and it was Pajemski setting the screen for Curry. Pajemski getting the screen from Curry, and two defenders again went to Curry. Pajemski goes back door, gets a bucket. So that play was created entirely by Steph Curry's gravity. But the fact that the Warriors have like a legitimate offensive weapon who can handle the ball and let Steph play off ball a little bit, it's just what they've been missing. And here you go. You're running the offense through Jimmy Butler again in closing time. Spacing the floor for him. Ooh, man, he missed it, but that is some burst from Jimmy Butler. Old man Butler out of the corner. That was some nice acceleration out of the corner right there. And you got to think, if you're the Warriors, Jimmy Butler hasn't played all season really, so he should be fresh down the stretch of the season entering the playoffs because he's basically been riding the bench in Miami. He's been suspended half the year. Jimmy, see, this is why I'm a Jimmy Butler fan. Some Cavs fans really hate him, but Jimmy is too funny for me to hate him. The extensions, the emo Jimmy Butler was my favorite. Him in the Fall Out Boy music video is so funny. And listen, he's a guy I will always have respect for guys who rise to the occasion in the playoffs. Trae Young being one of them. I hate Trae Young. He's one of my least favorite players in the NBA, but damn it, he shows up in the playoffs and I have to respect it. Ooh, big three right there to keep him alive. If you're Houston, is this one of the worst draws you can get? Yeah, I'd have to imagine Golden State is one of the worst draws down there. Even LA, if they slip, I feel like when you're a younger team making the playoffs for the first time, you don't want to run into the team of OGs, basically. Even if the Warriors are a less talented team, you don't want to run into the OGs for your first playoff series. Who called the timeout there? Houston? Oh, yeah, that's a bad turnover. That's just a lazy pass that never had a chance. Oh, I read that wrong. Bad turnover, old kid said. Yeah. For some reason, I read that as timeout. Yeah, that was a very bad turnover. That's why I was asking who called timeout. No, bad turnover. Yeah. Yeah, be here tomorrow for the Rising Stars game. Jackson, thank you. Or actually, give you the heart. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, Jackson will be doing the Rising Stars tomorrow. I'll be doing State Farm Saturday and the Sunday All Star game as well. I saw technically the All Star game Sunday. The start time is at 8 o'clock, but the first game doesn't start until 8:20. So I'll probably start the stream at like 8:10 because there's going to be a bunch of intro stuff. I'd like to see the players get announced, but uh, we'll probably start somewhere around 8:10. Game finally starts at 8:20, and then we'll go ahead and watch. No, Jackson, I'm not getting paid. It just rolls off the tongue, The State Farm Saturday. But no, that I'll be doing Saturday, Sunday. And it should be a lot of fun, man. I'm rooting for DG, and we got plenty of Cavs being represented. All right, Draymond bringing the ball up the floor here. Golden State is in a pretty comfortable spot. They basically just can't beat themselves here. Don't turn it over. Run down the clock. Even if you miss, you're still in a pretty good spot. Just don't turn it over. Oh, two looks at the rim there. Couldn't finish. Jackson, I can't wait for you to watch the Taco Bell Skills Challenge. Oh, Pajemski just stole that from him. Bullied him. That's a tough turnover right there. Yeah, the sponsors have gotten out of hand in the NBA, but I still can't believe that Adam Silver allowed them to put advertisements on the jerseys. That one upset me. Thankfully, it's stopped at one so far. But if these ever turn into like NASCAR style jerseys, man, I'm gonna be sick. Yeah, I gave Jackson the wrong idea mentioning Taco Bell. The Baja Blast is calling to him. Yep, that's game time. I said earlier you don't want Draymond to hit the dagger. Well, Houston, that's the worst thing that could have happened. Oh, bad play there from Thompson. I mean, it looked like that ball was going in already. The backpack jumper for the dagger. Yeah, Warriors about to win. I think they've won what? Have they won 3 out of 4 since getting Butler? I know they lost. Oh, okay. That was actually, I don't know if it was off the rim or not, but that actually wasn't going in. From the broadcast angle, it looked like it was already going in. Yeah, the Warriors have been rejuvenated. Again, I don't think it'll be quite enough for them to enter that upper echelon. But look, Jimmy Butler always seems to rise to the occasion in the playoffs. I wouldn't want to play him in the first round. Outside of Denver and Oklahoma City, any other team I feel like wouldn't want to draw Golden State in the first round. OKC probably beats the brakes off them. Denver probably has no issue against them. But Memphis, Houston, it'd be tough. DG broke them. Yeah. They're frauds, apparently. The Jason Tate game winner. When I was looking at I mentioned this on the last Cavs stream, but Mobley is the only player this season to have 28 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals in a game. And if you look at like the last here, I think I still have it on my computer. I'll pull it up real quick. If you look at players who have done that, who have had that stat line this decade, Jason Tate is one of them. He is on that list. It's Evan Mobley, Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, Jokic, Jayshawn Tate, Luka Doncic, and Ben Simmons. They're the only players who have done that this decade. So Jayshawn Tate and Ben Simmons are the polar bear. They're the two polar bears on the list. 2020, Ben Simmons. Yeah, he had 29 points, 13 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 blocks, 3 steals. Could have been a Cav, yeah. Jason Tate in 2021, his game was 32 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 blocks, and 2 steals. He went crazy. The most impressive game here is probably Jokic with 46 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 blocks, 3 steals. But that's the highest scoring game at least. So yeah, been crazy stat line. It's nice to see Evan Mobley in there. Something tells me he is not going to be the polar bear. He's not joining the polar bears. I think he'll be on the list a couple more times probably. Wolves up by 10 points now. Good for them. Hopefully they pick up that win. If Oklahoma City loses, we will be tied at a 44-10 record, both of us. Yeah. Those stats are always great to me. I'll take as many as we can get. Second Tuesday in February during a full moon. Yeah. Jokic should win MVP is your hot take. That's, you know what, Demo? I think SGA is kind of running away with it, and it's going to hurt Jokic that he's already won 3 of them. But let me see right now. This game's over, so I'm going to take my eyes off it. I'm going to look up the standings real quick. The thing is, OKC is so far ahead of everyone else. I'm trying to see exactly how many games up they are. Yeah, so OKC is 9 games ahead of Denver. I feel like because of that and because Shea hasn't won it yet, they'll probably end up giving it to him. But as a hot take, purely talking from a hot take standpoint, you could easily argue Jokic is the most valuable player. He's still the best player in the world. I think pretty easily he's a better player than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. But because he's already won 3 and his team is so far behind, they're going to give it to Shea. But I actually like your take. And yeah, Jackson agrees too. Hate to hand it to Demo. Demo has good takes. Well, we can hand it. I have no qualms about handing Demo a good take. Again, if you talk about most valuable, this is the LeBron thing that we've talked about plenty of times as Cavs fans. Most valuable in the NBA, take Jokic off the Nuggets. They're a lottery team. You take Shea off the Thunder, they're still a pretty good team. They're not, number 1 in the NBA. But anyways, yeah, I mean, Shea's going to win it. It's a narrative award, and I won't be upset if he wins. I think he's certainly deserving of it. But if we're talking who's the best player in the NBA, it's definitely still Jokic, in my opinion. But that's going to do it for this stream. We started with the Warriors-Rockets. We're going to end with Warriors-Rockets. As I've already said, stay tuned. All-Star Weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really hope that we'll see some of you guys on Saturday and Sunday. Make sure you check in with Jackson tomorrow. And I hope you enjoy your weekend. But hope you have a great Friday, Saturday.